My name is Yaron Engler. Introduction. I am basically, I'll do it as quick as I can. I dreamt from the age of 4 to be a drummer. And somehow I navigated my life and I made this into a career. So I've been touring all over the world and I've been doing a lot of big productions. About 10 years ago, after really extensive touring and everything, it felt like, I guess, midlife crisis. I decided I need to change a little bit. And I decided to kind of put to the side the music. And I was always very much interested in all, let's talk about purpose and all these kind of subjects. There was something that was always driving me, because despite the fact that we've been touring and we've been doing a lot of very big productions, the things that I really, really loved and still remain with me are a lot of projects that we went, for example, to Derry, which is one of the most deprived areas in the UK. And we worked with people there who don't have a lot of self-belief, who don't have a lot of direction in life. And through music, we really changed their lives. And this whole idea of opening people to possibilities that they have in themselves that they're not aware of is something that is my purpose. So I became this thing that is called coach. Hate this word, but anyway, there is a lot of good, bad, and shitloads of ugly when it comes to coaching. But you know, I try to navigate myself within all that and be on my purpose with this work of coaching. So the drive that for me is, with everything that I do, is about, again, finding. I know that I'm in a business environment, but I'm going to speak the way I speak. Finding truth. We all have our truth in us, and we have so many influences around us that tell us that we should be something else. And I say, I'm going to say bad words if it's too much, tell me. I say, fuck it, because we need to live who we truly are in order to live life. You know, we have opportunity in life. We're all dying, yeah? We have a few days left, whatever that is, 10,000, 12,000, maybe some of you younger, a little bit more. It's better to leave that and to squeeze that to the edge, whether we do personal life and also with our businesses, with our employees, with the relationships that we have around us. And work is a big, 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 big thing. So I've been doing this work for quite a long time. I dive really deep with the work that I do. In the last few years, I worked specifically with men, which was really, really powerful, because men have quite a lot of pressure that is preventing them from doing certain things. And I think in a world that, you know, promoted for very good reasons, Black Lives Matters and the whole thing around equality with women and all that, which I totally promote, there are so many good men out there that are being left and don't really get the support that they need to become who they truly can become. So giving that space for really good men, it has been very, very beautiful. We're now diverting and we're opening the programs not just for men. And kind of on the side way, I am also now back in that performing world. I'm the musical director and the drummer of the new Peaky Blinders production, which is going to tour all over the UK. It's a new dance piece, so that's going to be very rock and roll. And actually, I spoke to the production, because this is a big drive for me. So yes, we're performing. It's going to be a big, big production, la, la, la. But then I thought, you know what? Peaky Blinders, those of you who've seen the program, for me, that program symbolizes this thing that, you know, they're quite nasty people. If you watch the program, they're really nasty people, but somehow we want them to succeed. There is this conflict of this good and bad in us as human beings, which I'm really interested in, because a lot of us are pushing that bad, those kind of darker things, and we don't own them. And then things become weird in our lives, in our relationship, at work, at home, and everything. So I spoke to the production. I told them, like, I want to explore this with audience. We're going to offer workshops, which is totally on my purpose, to offer people who have seen the show and want to explore this for themselves. We're going to work around this thing of, like, really get to know who you truly are. Own your shit, because then you can make a better life and a better business. That was not a short introduction, but here you go.
But tons of context. And
yes.
I love that kind of 4-year-old was going, I want to be a drummer, and here we are, and you're telling us that you kind of go full circle and you are living that purpose that you kind of really wanted to realize at 4 years old. And purpose, you know, we've already jumped straight into that. It's something that lots of us have to have conversations around at work, and particularly if we're in a people role, or we're perhaps sitting on the senior team, we're a founder, we're thinking around how are we defining what our mission is? What's our vision for the business? What's our purpose? And it would be really interesting from your perspective, if you could just talk us through what are the key differences between purpose, mission, and vision?
Yeah, I would love to. By the way, all of you who are not with the camera on, if you don't mind, turn it on unless you're doing some weird stuff. But really, because it's much better, it's much more fun to see people. So thank you for those who have the camera. And if you feel comfortable, totally fine. If not, just saying I prefer. Thank you, Julie. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Hello. So, purpose, mission, vision. I give my theory about this because I kind of do things my way. I saw this idea of purpose, vision, mission, all these things. All the Julies are coming out now. I love it. Whoever is named Julie, you have to have your camera on now. That's been the new rule of this conversation. Anyway, hello, Emily. I'll move on. So I heard these words a lot of times in my life. And I kind of understood what they mean, but I didn't. And then I started to look around and see how people interpret it. And I think there was a lot of time, actually, is vision, mission the same thing? What is the difference between the purpose? And it was always like, so I decided I'm going to define it my way. So I'm going to give you my way. And because I think there is a structure to it that really helps me. And again, the work that I do with my clients to really align ourselves, whether it's a business or myself, to live our truth. That for me is the core thing. So there is a problem with these three words because we're missing one, which I think is the most important one. When we talk about purpose, mission, and vision, purpose, mission, and vision, for me, this is all kind of towards a future, moving towards something, which is something that in the Western society, we're very much pushed constantly to think, okay, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? But I'm tired of seeing so many people who have no fucking idea who they are, trying to build something towards the future, whether it's a business or person. So there is one word that for me is missing before that, which is, my programs are mainly on that, is I call it the essence, which is basically, who the hell are you as a company or as an individual? And that essence includes everything that constructs who you are up until now, nothing towards the future. That means the education that you received, where were you born? What kind of climate did you grow up with? Because if you live in a great weather like the UK, no judgment whatsoever, it makes you be in a certain way very different than if you would live in Ghana. You're a different person because of that. Your blood type, the relationships that you had, all the successes that you had, and all the bloody challenges and pain that you went through. Really, again, it's kind of what I spoke about, the Peaky Blinders, like really owning that and understanding this is who I am. There's something that I need to accept. There's something that I would do my best to reject, but instead of rejecting them, let them bubble. Deal with them in a different way, then either let them go, or you will see that a lot of, like, usually the biggest pains and the biggest shit that we go through our lives are the biggest teachers that we have as well. So pushing them away isn't really helpful. It's creating a safe space for us to start owning that. And I think it's only when we really get to know who we truly are and the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. And that's who I am. So I am this hairy guy who is probably, for some of you, it's quite exciting. And wow, this is an interesting energy. For some of you, it's like, who the hell is this guy? Like, oh, fine, that's who I am. And I know that it's not for everybody. But a lot of times I found myself in situations, especially in the workplace, where I come to these business things and I need to put the facade and the bullshit on, and I need to act in a certain way and kind of fit in. And it's not a good thing for me or for anybody. So really getting to know who we truly are, it's only then we can move to the three others. So I really recommend people to do this work of really going and learning. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of spaces to do this in a really brutally honest way, where we can get feedback from others, where we can really encourage to see the fullness of us. So that is the essence. From the essence, the next thing for me is purpose. Purpose is, okay, so this is who I am. This is what happened to, and we can take it the same as for the workplace. So this is the company until now. This is what we've been going through. This is ta. through that, because of that, with that, what are we trying to achieve? That's a much better foundation to start creating a purpose. So for me, as much as I want to be hyper organized and really composed, I am not. So I need to stop. I was trying for many years to just speak a little bit slower and to act as if I'm really, it doesn't work for me. So when I own this, I can understand, okay, so now if I understand that this is who I am, I can come to a space like this and be myself with a true intention of my purpose, which is something I want to talk about also, to really define your purpose in really like one sentence, whether you're a company or an individual. I'm heading, as you can see, towards the individuals because I'm interested more in that, but it's relevant for both. Based on what I've been going through, what is my purpose? So I can tell you the one phrase is my purpose in life, and it's valid for my personal life and it's valid for my work, is my purpose is to reduce suffering and boost love in the world. That is my purpose. Everything that I do right now in this conversation, the purpose of it is to help some of you at least reduce suffering with your work, with yourselves, and boost love. Because I know that once you do that, things will start to unfold. So, and that is based, and there are reasons why that happens. You know, if I suffered from depression for so many years, and I learned how to come out of it. My parents showed me how to create like really, really, really bad communication at home. I couldn't fit into a lot of workplaces. I had to maneuver my way and always create my own jobs. All this I'm bringing into my purpose. And I won't share the whole story of my life, obviously, but through all those struggles, both at work and in my personal life, I am building my purpose, where I will go with Peaky Blinders to talk to people about, let's own our shit. When I will come to this kind of space, I say, let's own our shit, because I know that when we do, life becomes better. Everything flows better. So essence, knowing who I truly am, can define, okay, this is what is the drive. The fuel is the why. It's what you're talking about, Simon. It's the drive, the thing that moves me forward. And the thing when everything goes, no matter what, I will still move towards that thing. No matter what, as a company, or my business, you know, the coaching business, is a bloody struggle. Like, how to create trust within men. Again, now it's opening. I'm opening for other people as well. But with men, it was like, how do I open the safety for men to understand this is not going to be a macho kind of play? It's been a bloody struggle, and I should have given up about 714 times, but I didn't, because it's like I see the importance of this. I'm tired of seeing relationships falling apart. I'm trying to see people really lost in their lives. This is what drives me, because for some reason, I don't know why, I was lucky enough to be born in the right family, in the right support team system, that I could fulfill my dreams. I'm not unique. Everybody can find their purpose and do it. And this is what drives me. And again, this purpose, if you know it, it can push you. Once you have your purpose, then for me, the next thing is to create a vision. And the vision and the mission for me are kind of, so just putting it on a time scale, the essence is everything from the past up until this moment, right this moment. The purpose for me is built on kind of past, present, and future. It's something that, because of what happened to me and because of what's going on right now, the drive to me towards the future is going to be that. So it's kind of spreads all over the place. The vision is completely future. Okay, I called my program, and then what, for a reason. So all that stuff is happening. And then, so what do we want to create with this? So we create a plan. So it's basically, the vision is a plan of the future. And the mission is get shit done. It's you take this vision and you make that happen. So I think the order of things is essence, purpose, vision, mission. Essence is completely past. And again, what I will learn in the next month will become part of my essence in a month. Purpose is all over the place in time. It comes from the past to the present, but it goes towards the future. Vision is future plan. Mission is future get shit done. Does that make any sense? I'm talking a lot sometimes. I know. Sorry about that.
It does make sense. And I guess I'm going to jump in with kind of perhaps $1 million question, because I do lots of reading and listening to podcasts around things to do with how, as leaders, do we make better decisions? How do we create a vision, or how do we adopt visionary leadership? And there were some really startling statistics around that business leaders overwhelmingly, and we're talking 90% plus, describe that having purpose and values as two key drivers for making decisions of the business. And yet only 38% of businesses actually use their purpose or values to make better decisions. And, I'm sure there are lots of variables that are influencing some of that. But I think perhaps a big piece of that is how connected are the leadership team to that purpose, to the mission, what are we hoping to achieve, what's our long-term aims. Is there a disconnect? It can be I quite like where we're going and I feel some connection, but am I truly aligned to, as a business, what we're hoping to deliver on? So I guess $1 million question, because if we're working for another business, it's not necessarily 100% of our purpose. How do we find that inner connection, and how do we create some of that excitement that clearly you exude when you talk about what you're here to do? How do we embody some more of that at work?
Oh man, it's a really wide question. But I think the core for what I think, and again, don't trust me, I don't know more than anybody, I'm just sharing my perspective here. I think the core of the problem happens when we don't have enough spaces and invitation in life to really know who we are. So we go out to the world and kind of trying to fit in constantly. And when you started to speak about what you said, you said something like we're invited to constantly be doing, this focus on constantly doing. Nobody takes stops ever to just, who am I? What am I interested in? I ask a lot of time people, do you know what your core values are? Because if you know what your core values are and you go to a company and then there is a conflict there, I for many years rejected completely the idea of values. I thought it's another ticking box kind of thing, but then I did it, and it changed everything for me, because I know that the top 3 core values that I have are like GPS for me in life. So I will not be able to work for a company that contradicts one of those core values. So I see a question, what are my core values? Yeah, I can share that if you want. I'll share it because it's relevant. So my top core values is, and it's unfortunately for the people in my life, it's not that easy. The top one is radical honesty. And that's an uncomfortable thing for a lot of people, but that is everything in my life. My wife is suffering from that, but we have gone through a lot of shit together, and it's always that honesty that builds up because of what I've seen. This is my purpose again. I've seen my parents. I've seen so many relationships falling apart because people are holding back. So I'm like, poof, no, let's unfold. Let's talk about it. Radical honesty. The second one is individuality. I truly believe that each one of us here has something very unique and special that needs to be completely explode. And it can be really, really, really different for everybody. I know that saying that I'm a drummer is very exciting, blah, 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 but it can be like, for some people, it doesn't matter what it is, but we have to dive in order to discover that. And the third one is connection. I truly believe that it's only when we have real honesty and we really, truly know who we are that we can create a real connection, whether in personal life or at work. But that comes back to the question that you asked, like, if nobody knows who the hell are they, it's really hard to create harmony and in the workplace or in family or whatever. So I think encouraging more, and I think COVID was a great gift for that, because it gave people this like reality check, like deal with your shit at home by yourself. Sorry, I'm a bit vulgar. Deal with it. But people had to face that thing. So there is more softness now. There is more openness now. I will go to business environment where you can talk about mental health. I always spoke openly about my depression and stuff like this, but suddenly other people come to me and speak to me, people that would not do that in the past. So things are changing, but I think that there is still a lot of tick boxing. And that tick boxing needs to be challenged by courageous people who know who they are. And it's not easy, it's not comfortable, and it has a risk of losing job, which I understand that is not always possible for everybody. I live my life in a way that is quite wild in that element, but it would be really, really hard for me because my top value is radical honesty, to be in a place where I feel that I need to, but for some people, their values are very different. So if your value is profit and the company's value is profit, this is perfect, bang on. But it's about checking in with yourself. That's what I would do. You know, what are the company's values? What are my values? And then can I bridge that? Can I make that work? Can I challenge? Do I have people there who are leading the space that I can challenge and tell them, like, listen, we have this thing. Why do we have that? And open conversations like this. And if you feel that you're against a wall, it's your decision in life whether you want to spend your life in a space like this, or if you feel that and then there is openness. Oh, interesting. So something can happen, but it's our individual choice. A side story about that: when I offered the production of the Peaky Blinders, this workshop, I went to their website, to Rumber, which is the company that runs. It's a dance company basically. And I was with my business coach, and I'm not kidding. When I read their purpose, like the About Us, and when I read the purpose, it just said what, I'm getting goosebumps even when I speak about it now. I cried. I literally cried because wow, what I'm trying to do is completely aligned with what they're trying to say. Boom. And it just felt so alive. And I'm saying, like, let's feel alive. So it's about challenging, allow ourselves to challenge and ask ourselves if the challenge is accepted and we can create openness in business and more, whatever the business wants more, then great. If we get into a block, it's our individual decision. Where am I taking my life? Am I spending my life in this kind of space, or am I changing? Hard questions to ask. Did I answer the $1 million question?
You didn't. They are hard questions to ask, and they're questions that we can ask ourselves, but also if we're thinking about our roles, either in a people capacity, but also if we're thinking about if we're leading the business, we need to be able to be transparent about this is who we are as an organization. These are the things that we believe are truly important to us, and this is where we're heading. And I guess if we're Go on, Yaron.
No, just to jump on that. So the work that I've done, the guys that have been in my groups, most of them are business leaders. There will be like a CEO, there will be a manager or whatever. And all the work that we do is for them to dismantle the facade, to be able to own their truths, to be able to uncover, to speak the things that they hold back, that as if nobody knows. And when they have this safe space that they can share it, suddenly they see it's not such a big deal. It's not such a, and I've seen, a guy that had hiring is a lot of times the problem with these guys. They tell me like, I can't hire the right person. I can't hire the right person. And what I do to them, I flip the hand and they start to have a look at themselves. So a guy that had like 6 people on his team and he was constantly frustrated, after a year suddenly sends us a picture like this of the Zoom where he has a team of 13. They're all happy. They're all smiling. Sends me a message telling me like, man, I had my brother's wedding. I left the business for 3 days. I didn't have to be there. It's the first time I'm doing this kind of thing. So it's by looking at ourselves as the business leaders, but with radical honesty, really looking at ourselves in a very safe space, we can start dismantle these things that we think that we need to hold on so tight that really consume our energy and create really nasty energy around us. Once that's dismantled, again, it's like everything just falls into place. So, yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
So let's suggest that the senior team are coming together. There is alignment that, you know, that senior team are connected to where the business is going. They feel a sense of drive and there's, I guess, meaning for the work that they're doing. And you mentioned around tick boxes, and my view on this is perhaps I agree in lots of circumstances, but I also think there's a piece where our intentions are there. So we want to create this stuff, but actually it's, in terms of it kind of delivery, it's quite surface level. So the impact is it's very much seen as a tick box exercise. And I'm sure there are lots of reasons why that is. But let's say the team are super aligned, is how do you create that same momentum and buy-in from the rest of the business to really get everybody else to really connect to our vision and purpose?
Again, it's a hard question because it really also depends on the size of the organization. You know, it will be very different to 8 people to 8,000 people. I have no experience in 8,000 people. I have experience in let's say up to 200. I don't think it can be that harmonious because when it's really hard. It's all falls on communication in the end, even if all intentions are there. My way of dealing with that in my kind of managing role, I guess. So I think a lot of, this is how I approach this, because I've been involved in really big projects that you see like how many pieces, like the Peaky Blinders, another great example. You have so many parts to this production that needs to happen. And so I'm the musical director and I'm also a drummer. So I need to be kind of in 2 seats at the same time. But I understand this piece is not about the music. So it's like, it's to really understand that I need to not take anything for granted with what I think is my intention is, because I can think my intention and everybody's with me. But, you know, when we speak about any word, I always like to ask person, because we are sure that we speak about the same thing. But when you talk to me about whatever word it is, I like to ask, what do you actually mean when you say that word? Because then that already starts a conversation. Now, we don't always have the time for this, but I think not to take anything for granted, not to assume anything. I over-communicate things, asking for feedback, honest feedback, and that requires, again, this establishment of a place where people feel that they can do this honest feedback. And patience, because sometimes you get that email that really pisses you off, and but actually the person also talking to people when possible, instead of all this communication with email or SMSs, you know, that drives me nuts when people just bounce messages 17 times instead of just talk, because there is a lot of communication that happens out of the text that we have to feel, hear, see, and things can become, you can really dismantle a massive, crazy shit that is building up by doing that phone call. So have the courage to speak. Have the courage to communicate things that are uncomfortable, but be grounded again. Just it's communication. It's all communication, I think. Not taking anything for granted. Communication, patience, and understanding. That's my take on it, but I'm sure people have here much better ideas or other ideas as well.
And I'd love to hear some of those.
Yeah, me too.
I've got one more question for you, and then we're going to kind of cut over to the groups. If you've got questions or you want to share your thoughts, if you pop them into the chat, and then we'll come to you in a couple of minutes. So I guess last question for you, Yaron, is if one of us is sat here thinking, I thought I felt connection to where we were going as a business, but actually, if I'm really honest with myself, perhaps there is a disconnect. What one thing could that person do to try and reignite that fire?
Well, I'm aligned with my person. I think honesty is a very important thing for me. It's about being very honest with yourself to see what I said before. That's the business. That's who you are. The first thing is to check, to have who is the person that you can talk to, to see, listen, I have this thing and I want to check this, and see what comes out of this conversation. If you get a push and you see, oh, it's your decision where you want to stay in this place or not. If you see that there is openness, boom, you've created something that can actually help the business. But for me, it's all about this integrity and honesty, to own our shit and to communicate that even when it's uncomfortable, to challenge. The world needs a positive challenge, not poking. Positive challenge that will make us and the others and the companies better. I think that's the way I can see that. And have the courage to step back, to let go. Because in the end, when we let go, something else, it's not a cliche, something else comes. So again, that's my take on it.
Yaron, thank you so much for sharing so many of your reflections and your honest thoughts on some of those quite challenging questions.